Greeting once again, everyone, to the Bass Blaster Audio Tech YouTube channel. And in this video, we have this thing. This is a off-brand mixer with an amplifier. I'm not really sure exactly what to call this thing. The brand name is an off-brand. It's Rogue. This is a PRM-806. A club I work with. This is what they use to play music, and well, it's developing some issues. I was trying to use it today, and you kept having to bang on it to get the thing to work. So I'm sure it's just bad solder joints. But, I don't have much else to say. I'm more trying to figure out how am I going to open it. Because it's got this, well, I assume at least MDF cover that goes all the way around it. And there's, ouch, there's no, like, obvious way to get into it. I'm thinking maybe take these screws out and it lifts up. But, off camera before I was recording, I've done some snooping around. I'm not entirely sure how this thing works. It has two sets of speakers. No, a pair, I should say. And, well, they're both mono. So I figured it just mixes all the 6 channels down to mono. Well, I'm starting to think maybe it's actually a mono amplifier. So here's our heatsink. We can clearly see there's 4 devices here. Here's our 2 speaker outputs. This is a single speaker fuse. It's listed as a 5 amp. However, if we take this fuse out, probably can't tell very well, but this is actually I just had it here. Where was it? This is a 15 amp fuse. In place of the 5. That's always a great start. And I've already done it, so I'm not going to bother about our AC fuse, marked as a 3 amp. Okay, yeah, let me focus. It does have a 3 amp fuse in it. Now, I'm not entirely sure how this thing works. We have a nice big power cord that would suggest a switching supply, yet if you shine your light in these fake air vents, apparently, you can see almost say around a 50 volt amp linear transformer. How do I get inside this? I genuinely don't know. Maybe it kind of peels apart. Alright, I'm just going to start taking screws out and hope I get somewhere. In case anyone's wondering why the lighting may be so bad, it's currently 10 o'clock at night and the only thing I have are these 2 desk lamps. So you have to give me a pass on that. However, I doubt I'm going to get this thing done tonight. So, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to take out these 2 screws. Let me try to slide this thing in. Well, okay, I guess I'll just move this whole camera. Take out these 2 screws that's here. Desk lamp. Had to steal one from my computer desk because there's obviously no sunlight out. See, I don't want to have to take this case off because, one, I don't even know how it comes off. So we've got 8 of these rubber bumper guard things, and there's 2 screws in each of them. I should note that this thing does work perfectly when you get done banging on it. And I don't figure it's got very much power, but this dual speaker and 1 fuse sparks some interest. I think it's a mono amp, and it's putting both speakers in parallel to put a 4 ohm load on it. The exposure is going to be all over the place this video. Well, I guess I'll see if the back just pulls out. Oh. We got movement here. It doesn't want to. Top's moving, but the bottom isn't at all. Yeah, I know it's probably not ideal to grab on the heatsink, but the heatsink's got its own screws. It's got 1 in each corner that secures it to this. Oh man, this thing weighs about 15 pounds, but I'm sure it's just this wood around it. I hope I don't have to tear the front apart, because look at all these potentiometer knobs I'd have to take off. And then all the screws to the nuts for these connectors. I don't want to do that. Plastic on plastic on plastic. Lovely. Actually, that might not be a good idea, because if those jacks fall in there, I ain't going to be able to get them out. I guess I'll try taking these feet screws out of here. I figure this whole chassis have to slide out of here because I somehow doubt this wood cover was built around the chassis. I think the cover was made and the chassis was slid in. But this is a no-name brand, so I could of course be very wrong. I am seeing no... Oh, that's dusty. I'm not seeing any giveaway. I'm seeing nothing that suggests that that'll get the chassis out. I think this chassis might slide out of here, because if I grab this heatsink and move it this way, you can feel the whole thing moving. I'm going to try to pop out these two screws, and then there's two screws like this on the bottom. Taking out those bottom screws made no difference at all, so here I am. At least these knobs come off easy, and they're slotted type potentiometers, so there's no guessing on where the center is. I'm surprised this thing's not more dusty for how the old it is. The dude that owns this, he thinks it's about 20 years old, which is a possibility. Ah, come here. Oh, you can definitely see which knobs get used the most. There's rings around them all. I guess I better get done screwing. How many screws we got here? I count 19 screws. Last two nuts, I already got all the screws out. Two of the screws will not come out. They just sit there and spin. So that's probably an issue. Okay, so... Yee! Okay, can I get this front panel off? Maybe I can try to start prying at it. Nope, it is not moving at all. How does this thing come out of here? Alright, so it looks like we have 2 channels per board. See, all our issues, the only channels we use are 1, 2, and 3. Ignore this marketing. These marks, you can tell this is owned by some old guy because he can't remember which knobs to turn. He also has Sharpie marks where his knobs should go. This video is probably going to end up being a half-hour long at this rate. Then I'm going to cut a whole bunch of this out. I'm probably still going to leave a lot of it. Oh. There we go. I just need to get my fingers back here. Alright. I'm going to stick to my idea of the chassis slides in, and then these front and rear panels are put in afterwards. Because the front and rear panels screw into this wood. Yeah, I just looked in the hole here. 1 and 2 is a separate board. But are all these connected? Apparently so. I don't understand the logic behind how this thing is made, but I might hear in a minute. Ooh, okay, right, so. Jesus fucking hell. Right. 2955, 2955, 3055. Oh, I know those transistors. This is probably going to be a very basic Class AB board. We'll, of course, pull it and get a little better look. But is that the rectifier? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scope out these boards for bad solder connections, because that is most likely our issue, because if you bang on it, it works. However, it could also be an issue back there. But it could be on this board as well. You have to ignore the, again, handheld video. But looking at our board, our op amps are the infamous 4558D. Just about everything I own has that chip. And of course, it's all single-sided. But I was looking, this board has had some work done to it before on these potentiometers. You can see the flux and how it's shinier than the rest. This board, there's that guy right there. Other than that, this control board looks mostly original. However, I think our amplifier is going to be our issue. It could be the way that the output transistors are put into sockets. And that is one crooked insulator too. Okay, so there's a couple solder joints on this board that have the rings on them. I'm going to tighten up my tip again because every time I turn this thing off and turn it back on, my tip almost falls out. Alright, so yeah, I guess I'll just start redoing some of these. Oh, this stuff don't melt too well. I got my iron turned up a bit too. Ooh, this guy had a big ring around it. See, the issue is when it fades in and out on both channels simultaneously. Actually, wait, no, because I forgot that it's a mono amplifier, which I also looked again off camera. There's a mysterious box on the top of this thing that I'm pretty sure coming off this, you can't see it, but the end of this board with your master volume goes into a pair of RCAs into a box mounted on the top. We're going to have to check that out. We do not use these XLRs, we just use the 1/4 inches, so I'm not worried about the XLRs at all. Not in the slightest. Oh yeah, this thing's vintage. There's a manufacture date on this board, February 17th of 96. Where's that? 86. 96. 22 years, I believe. 22 years old as of the making of this video, which is May, I believe, May 1st. June. This is June 2nd. I am a month behind. What? I could shoot some contact cleaner in these, however, I don't want to waste my deoxide on this. You can also tell which knobs never get used because there's a pile of dust on the top of them. Alright, I'm just going to start redoing these potentiometers. They're all single gang. What value they are, don't know, don't care. The op amps look fine. I want to move farther up, because I don't think the issue's on this board. Found out why these 2 screws I said were just spinning wouldn't come out. Check this out. Alright, it's going to be kind of hard to see, but the board is mounted to standoffs, just like this one here, right? Well, it was unscrewing the standoff and not the screw on the front of it. See, now it's coming out. See, I thought maybe the screws went into plastic and they were stripped. Nope, it was just taking the standoff out with it. Okay, now this board should come out as well. Yeah, which it does. That means we can get rid of this front face here. This is just a piece of stamped steel. You can even see where it was, I'd assume, powder coated. Okay, let's take a look at this board. So this board is the same as the last one, just more of the same parts. You can see, like, it's the same exact circuit, it's just copy pasted. I'm going to put these standoffs back down. Alright, so I need to take a note to myself in video where these plugs go. Actually, never mind, because they're all the same plugs. Or they're different sizes. Oh, love analog circuitry. Alright, okay, so these op amps are all 4558Ds, except this one right here. This is a 5532 double D. Same date, February 12th of 96. Designed BK Electco Ltd. You can tell by the flux, this board's been reworked before on those knobs. Who knows how many cycles those knobs have went through. Yeah, a lot of these connectors down here have been reworked. I'm not doing too good of a job trying to show this. I'm going to move this camera back more. Right, I'm not seeing anything obvious. Some of these 1/4 inch plugs look real bad on the ground, but actually, yes, we do use the ones on this end. Do we? Yes, we do. Right, got a couple bad grounds, but again, I lose sound to the entire unit, not just a couple channels, so I still think the issue might be farther ahead. I'm not going to bother with the channels that I know for a fact that we never use. We only use 1, 2, 3, and rarely 4. 5 and 6 never get touched at all. A couple pins on this op amp here, and this one pin here have been reworked before. I'm pretty sure this is a split supply, because we have this connector which connects to a channel 1 and 2 board. So you can see these links come through here, and they all connect to the same 2 pins on all of the op amps. See, I'm sure this is a split supply. Comes up, goes through a resistor, and it powers our indicator LED, which is so dim you don't even know the thing's on or not. Right, I don't think our issue is on these input boards. I think it's the amplifier board. Let's see if I can give you a O. Right, so this box at the top I was wondering about. I think this is actually a mechanic. Oh, there's a sticker. I didn't notice the sticker. What's the sticker say? Some tech specs, but here's our RC. Okay, I'm just going to stick the camera back here, so I can't really see very well. Be able to get 2 RCAs, but you can see where a spring hooks on each side. I think this is a mechanical reverb box deal. This is definitely just a mono amplifier, because this 2-pin connector here, if we follow this over to the amplifier board, it literally says, okay, stand up in the way. Literally just says input. We'll definitely check out this amplifier closer and we get into it. Oh, there's our bridge. There's two bridge rectifiers. One for the amplifier, and that one's probably for the circuit board at the front. What I'm going to try to do is get the screwdriver off here. I'm going to hold on the back of this, and I'm going to... Yep, there it's coming out. Okay, well, I could punch the transformer, but how am I going to get this other side out? Oh, there we go. It came right out. Let's flip this apart, or around, I should say. Slide you around. Good thing these feet are rubber, or else this desk would be completely scratched. Move camera around, whatever. Right. Now this means I can get the this wood cabinet and stick it on the floor out of the way. Look at that. This reverb box. It's literally just normal RCAs. Let me get it in shot because I'm a dumbass. Look at that. Ouch, that was sharp. Just normal RCA. That's kind of cool. I've never seen one. I've known about these reverb boxes now that I know what this is, but I've never seen one in person before. Right, so I've looked over the amplifier board. This is what we have here. We do have dual supplies. This is our main rectifier. It feeds a pair of 4700 microfarad 50 volt caps, which obviously powers the amplifier. Then we have this cute little guy here. This feeds a pair of 1000 mic 25 volt, I believe. Yes, 1000 mic 25 volt. It feeds this connector, which is the split supply for the front board. I'm just going to refer to those two boards on the front as the front end. Okay. Then we have our single wire for our input. And then we have a single wire for our output, of course, the ground. So yes, this is a mono amplifier board, which would explain why there's no left and right balance control. And of course, our transistors are the infamous, been around since the 60s, the TIP3055. And most people don't know it actually has a complementary pair, which is the TIP2955. Alright, I am going to, probably pretty stupidly, I'm going to power this up because I want to know what rail voltage it runs at. So for the ground, I do not think this board is grounded to the chassis. So, it's a push-pull amplifier, so I can use the speaker ground. Ground, good place to get our VCC is from the collectors of our driver transistors. Plus and minus 39 volts. Under load, that's probably about 35 or so. What are our driver transistors? Oh, man, I'm liking this amplifier. This is a... Let me shut this off, please. This is a TIP42C. And our other one is a TIP41C. Should have known. Wow, those are some really shiny tabs. We have some TO92s here. This is probably going to be a differential front end. These are A970s. This is a, I assume, C. It has 1850 on the board. Yeah, C1850. These two A970s are probably your differential front end. We have a Zener diode, don't know what voltage. TO126, this is a D600. I've seen that transistor so many times. Some jelly bean capacitors and some resistors. 5 watt 0.2 ohm emitter resistors. Pretty simple board. I actually like the amplifier. I don't have a problem with this. Since this entire board is held in with connectors, I did take pictures off camera, but I disconnected everything. I'm going to pull this board out and just snoop at it for broken solder connections. Now I got to be careful because it uses these plastic standoffs, and I also got to be careful because I don't know what the rail voltage is. but you kind of just like squeeze them and fish the board out. But I do like this amplifier board. I don't have an issue with this. This is definitely a capable board. Okay, we got our amplifier board out. Is there a standoff in the middle? There is a standoff in the middle, hiding underneath a plug. Aha! All right. Nothing immediately sticks out to me about this. Let's get a little closer. Just looks to be a standard Class AB amplifier board. I'm not even seeing any bad solder joints. They all look really good. All nice and shiny. These filter caps have been redone. Maybe they've broke in the past. They are glued at the bottom. Was that January 24th of 2000? PRM-806 main. I'm going to look that up. It is a rebrand. This mixer and its face comes from a brand called Stone. This is an PRM-806. This is, I don't really know the technical terms. I'm not into this field, but we got a mixer with a speaker built into it. Look at this. Whoopsie, I just accidentally Google searched look at this. Other than the graphics, it is the exact same. Yep. Gain and reverb, high-low. 6-channel power mixer. Let's see this. Okay, the real one is called an PRM-806. What's the one I have? PRM-806. Look at that. It's the exact same thing. Just, this actually has numbers, and that's more of a clean look. Look at that. It's a rebrand. Nice. Just another handheld shot because I couldn't get a very good angle on the tripod. But again, here's our small power supply circuit for our op amps. It is a Zener reference. These are 4744 Zeners. They are 15 volts. So the whole front end runs on plus and minus 15 volts.